So if either of you could travel anywhere in the world to perform a paranormal investigation, no restrictions whatever, no monetary restrictions, no locale restrictions, where would you both go and what would you investigate?
Willard.
Oh, yeah. Go back to
to
upstate New
Willard.
York. Yeah. We haven't been there.
There's so much more to learn about that place.
You wouldn't go to
Really?
Giza? I'd go to Giza and do the pyramids. I think
Yeah.
that would be
I'd
fun.
love to go to Scotland.
Oh,
I mean,
Scott,
there's
yeah.
and I'd like to learn more about their fairies and elementals and see, because somehow it all ties together.
Mm.
You know, you can learn something about the UFOs and like the shadow people.
Yeah.
Are that, you know, it's all tied together.
You should go and check out online Finhorn. Have you heard of Finhorn? It's
Then
Finhorn. Finnhorn. Go and do a Google on Finhorn and the community. Yeah, you'll enjoy that. So both of you, same place, so Scotland and Willard. So let's go outside the US. If London, I think, would also be good because there's so many ancient buildings there. Maybe something to do with the Templars, I think, would be great. So there's a few.
About Rome.
Oh, yeah.
The Colosseum.
The Colosseum would probably take my breath away.
Probably.
I mean, all the emotions. Ooh.
When I was there in 2006 and I walked into the Pantheon, and there was something in there. There was something in the Pantheon because I couldn't stay in there for too long. I started to get like a suffocation feel. So I don't know if they did anything in the Pantheon, but I think a lot of people got snuffed out in that place at some time. So, so
there
yeah,
was that snuffed out feeling that you described.
Felt like suffocation.
Like, yeah. I mean, that's
You've
what
had it.
Yeah. I felt that this was an asylum in North Carolina. No, it was in Virginia. West Virginia? Weston Virginia. Weston.
Oh, you mean at
what's the name of the place?
Trans-Allegheny?
No.
Oh.
The little place.
Yes.
But I was walking down the hallway, and this place is a boys' school and it had been an asylum too. But I got in that hallway, and all of a sudden I felt like somebody put the pillow over my face. I could not catch my breath. I was very frightened, and I said, "Excuse me, people," and just pushed people out of the way so I could get out.
St. Albans.
And I found out later, I mean, as soon as I left the room, I caught my breath. I was okay. But it didn't occur to me to go back and re-examine that spot.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I know. I kicked myself for that.
So has being paranormal investigators affected your lives in a positive way? And how have your close friends and family reacted to this occupation, especially in the Deep South, the Bible Belt?
Well, I certainly wouldn't tell anybody when I was a nurse. No. And you worked in the OR.
Yeah, but unfortunately for me, the cat got out of the bag one day at work, and everybody's looking at me like, really?
You're weird.
Really?
I used to feel like somebody'd ask for my email address, which is Port City Paranormal, and I used to feel like, oh God, they're going to ask me if I was a ghost hunter, or, you know. I don't care what anybody thinks anymore.
No, you get to that point, don't you? No. One day you just wake up and think, God, I'm too old to deal with other people's issues. So
exactly.
But I really think it has made it a positive influence on me, because that reassurance that there's life after death is comforting. It really is.
Something. I suppose it's the quality of life after death that you kind of ponder, though.
Yeah. You know, always thinking about could I end up to be a ghost?
Mm.
I think my father, he visits us over at the house here and even used our cell phones to contact us one time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think spirits have free choice.
Mm.
And if you didn't have free choice of thinking in your lifetime, you probably wouldn't at death.
Mm.
That's why people get stuck, because they think they can't leave or can't change.
I think, like with your dad, he passed over, but when they have a message, I think that they can come back, deliver the message, and leave again.
Mm-hmm.
There are some spirits, though, that are either really just don't want to leave, like the boys on the battleship have told us.
They don't want to.
Jane says, your duty is done here. You don't have to stay. And they said, we don't want to go.
Mm.
And then there are the ones that are, they don't know they're dead. They're trapped.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to interact like they're alive.
Yeah. Mm.
Well, they miss life. Sometimes you just can't be there anymore.
Well, that's why when we go on an investigation and do an EVP session, we try, what?
I just want to move my feet.
We try not to ask them stupid questions like, when did you die?
Yeah, I think that's rude too.
Well, for the fact that they might not know they're dead.
Mm.
Or it's reinforcing, yeah, I know I'm dead, but you don't have to tell me that. And we don't want to anger any of the spirits. So that's one of the questions we don't ask.
Mm-hmm. Do you know you're dead?
We'll ask them what the date is,
Mm-hmm.
to get a reference point, but not when did you die. That's just tactless.
So will they usually give you a date around their death?
We do get dates occasionally, not all that often.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be a point that they'll talk about themselves, and then they won't say anything after that. Like, we've been done. What's it like over there? I mean, is there an over there? Are you in a different dimension? What do you see around you? Are there other people with you? Well, we get some questions but they don't let us. They're not going to tell us what's behind the veil. They're just not going to tell us.
I guess people want to know what heaven is like, whatever that is.
What you make of it?
But the thing is that if they haven't crossed over, and they've never crossed over,
how would they know?
Anyway, they haven't been there.
Well, that's like the same time living human beings are telling ghosts how to cross over. Now, excuse me, how do you get to your house if I've never been there? Yeah, I just don't know.
No, I'm with you. I personally think we reincarnate, and that's the process. Basically, we leave this shell. We spend some time in the ether or the astral, and then we come back into a new body, and the process restarts. I think I'm like Doug. I don't believe there's this heaven place. I think basically it's just a continuous learning process. Each time we reincarnate, we're back to learn something else until we're more enlightened. I think potentially there is a goal at the end of it. Once you actually know, you've gained enough knowledge of this, then maybe there's some type of what do you call it? Once you're enlightened enough, you can then what do they call it when you move up? There's a name for it. Brain's just not working today, is it?
It's contagious.
Yeah.
Well, we believe that reincarnation is real. And I think it's one of the choices we have, because I think maybe a lot of ghosts just stay around for a while. But then there's the boys on the battleship. I mean,
don't want to go. And maybe
yeah,
that's fear. Maybe that's a fear. If
that's
they're a
their
very fearful person in life, maybe they just don't want to. They don't want to go into that unknown space or
now we've seen
reincarnate.
that.
Mm.
There was a woman at Willard, and I don't know if she was a patient there or what, but I saw her standing by the lake, and I could see the bottom hem of her dress was wet, you know, where she was standing. And what she was saying is she'd rather spend eternity in the bottom of this 400-foot deep, cold lake than go face God. And I just talked to her like a friend, you know.
But do you think it's maybe the people that don't want to go further have done or are the very fearful kind of anxiety riddled people, or maybe they've done something in that life that they don't want to be judged about?
Right.
Exactly. That we learned a lot of religions have a punishing God. So I would be afraid to go to heaven if I did something bad. Well, you wouldn't go to heaven, you'd go to hell.
Yeah.
Like the rest of us paranormal investigators.
I kind of believe in a collective consciousness once you die,
Mm-hmm.
that every mind comes together, and that's where you get full knowledge. And then you have a choice. You have a choice to remain or be reincarnated.
Try it again.
Try it again. Maybe add a little something.
Yeah, but you think in the process of looking at time, even if I am talking like linear, that our lifetime is just like a snap, a moment, compared to millions of years that have passed. I mean, this might be vacation for somebody, for entities. I don't know. But you know,
Who knows?
our time here is very limited.
It's interesting you should say that. I had this really odd dream about six or 7 years ago, where I was on a ship of some type, like a craft, and I didn't look human at all, and I was assisting. I was the assistant to this other creature, and he had this device which used to go up and down in front of his eyes, and it would change depending on who we were medically looking at. And basically, we would move from creature to creature to creature on this ship, and they were in some type of slumber. And he was basically teaching me how to treat and how to look at these people who are on this ship. And it was explained to me in this dream that what we were doing is we were actually looking after people or creatures who were reincarnating on Earth. So basically, they were from all different. Everyone looked different. So every time we went to a new bed or a new place where somebody was sleeping, or creature was sleeping, his little thing would go up and down on his eye, and so he could see them, I suppose, the particular type of alien or whatever was there. And then he would fiddle with a few things, and then he'd explain something to me. And as he was explaining it, he was saying, well, this one's reincarnated into a man in India. And then we go, and this is a lady, and she's just been born in like Philadelphia or somewhere. And he would actually pinpoint on Earth where they were currently now. Their consciousness was now inside someone on Earth. And but we weren't anywhere near Earth. We were like universes away, light years away. And I remember waking up from that dream, and it felt so real. I actually sketched everything. It was freaky, and it gave me a good idea for a book. But yeah, when you were just saying that came back to me straight away. I was thinking, yeah, that's kind of. And there are some theories out there. I remember going to I think it was a Nexus conference about 5 years ago, and they were talking about the Loosh theory. Have you heard of the Loosh theory?
No.
Apparently, when they believe when humans are agitated, either very high anxiety, high fear. We or very or during sex when we give off endorphins or whatever. That is called loosh too, and it's something that other creatures or other phenomenon, they come to Earth, they view Earth as like we would view a movie world or Sea World, or this is like an adventure park, but basically they can connect via our loosh, and it's kind of like a treat, a drug of sorts. It's kind of like them taking LSD. They come and they connect with a human who is in a high stress situation on these ships around the planet, apparently, and they get a high from connection to a human who's going through something extreme, which is why they believe Earth is always in turmoil. We've always got wars. We've always got this. And pretty much, however, they have to keep the planet 50-50 so that more humans are produced so that they can continue this. They don't want to kill the fatted calf, as they say. And basically, this is a theory that's been going around for a number of years in the ufology community, that this is why Earth is never ever, we never find enlightenment, even after so many thousands of years. We never get to that point because they're always stirring up trouble. They're always sticking their fingers in and like manipulating our politics, starting wars, creating division between the races. And it's one of the reasons why. And another thing that's floated a lot is that each of our races looks different because we are hybrids of various races. For example, the Japanese race apparently is a hybrid of the Greys and humanity. And all the different skin colors come from different races of aliens. So there's a lot of logical thought put into some of these theories, but in ufology, it's believed that we're kind of an entertainment planet. So, and we were created for that.
I just gave Doug a look, and I'm going, I surely hope not.
Yeah.
I find everything entertaining down here.
Well, they might think of us as a joke.
If we're the players. We're not supposed to be entertained. We're supposed to be exerting this loosh or whatever it is.
Just concentrate on California. They'll be entertained that way. Leave us alone.
Yeah. That's a better theory, though. I'd rather have that theory than the prison planet theory. Have you heard of that one?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. It's like this is where they send all the bad people in the universe. This is a prison planet. And basically, you're forced to reincarnate on Earth until you learn your lesson. And then when you become enlightened and you ascend, that's when you can go back to your own world. Yeah, you like that one, Doug? That's what.
You just don't know. I mean, even my father has not said anything to us, and we thought for sure Dad would let us in on the big secret.
But if the point is it is a prison planet, that may be one of the, you've got to learn this yourself. That's the whole point. You've got to reincarnate until you get it, because no one can actually just tell you this. You've actually got to learn your lesson. And yeah. So there you go. Maybe that's why they don't tell you.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of reasons. I don't know why.
But anyway, okay. So we could talk about that for ages, all the different kind of theories on it. So have either of you ever run into an entity that you would classify other than a ghost? That you kind of think this is definitely not paranormal, this is other?
Well, what I saw in the woods, which I thought was a gray. What about the black mass at Willard?
Yeah, I have no idea what the black masses are. They're not as big, and they don't take human form. Like the shadow guy with the hat and I've had people that have seen that, but these things are little, just dirty black fuzzballs. But they're like not solid.
No, they have fuzzy edges.
It's like you can't see the whole thing.
Right. It's.
But they have mass. If Deb felt it, they have mass.
Well, now that was not one of those kind of things. Yeah, because I saw it myself. It had shape, almost like a short human being, but it was in a fluid form. Like it morphed as it went past her from something with limbs to something more flattened, and then it was gone.
That sounds like what we'd have over here. Like they start off as a shadow and they morph into like more of a limbed entity, and then they can go back to shadow.
I don't know what this thing is. I classify that as other.
Yeah.
That is definitely other.
Human. I mean, it ain't human.
It's not human.
So how tall was your grey that you saw? Was it about 5 foot or was it a tall grey?
It was a tall gray. It was 7-8 feet.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range.
Yeah, there's all different types of greys too.
I had to look up.
Yeah. Yeah, they say that the taller ones are the more intelligent, and they're the ones that kind of have liaised and made agreements with the governments. And you were near a military base when you saw that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're the ones that I would run if I saw them. To be honest, if the shorter ones I've had the good experience with, but the tall ones are the race that apparently made all the agreements that allow abductions of humans to happen. So apparently back in the 50s there was an agreement between the US government and the Russian government and the UK government that they would not look into abductions of humans or animals. It's pretty, if that did happen, that's pretty disgusting. But
it is.
Yeah. Apparently they were only supposed to take, they had agreed on a certain amount, a percentage of the population, and it's been far exceeded, but what could they do? They're dealing with people with a race that's far in intelligence wise, far greater intelligence than we are. So anyway, so this will be an interesting answer. What is your opinion of today's media, Ghostbusters, who document their investigations on their websites, radio, podcasts, and television shows? Give me your best. We've kind of talked a little bit about this, but do you think they help the industry or the field that you're in? Do they further it?
No.
Well, the thing is that it tends to make happen is everybody's trying to one up each other. So what does that give you? Cheating, fakery.
Well, they need to generate excitement in a show, and if you're sitting there like we do on a mountaintop sometimes for 4 hours and nothing's happening, that's not good TV.
Yeah. Well, that's why people come on investigations with us. We have a lot of people that are really gung-ho about joining us and doing the research and the work and everything, and they go on an investigation and leave halfway through because they're bored.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, why bother?
Yeah.
I know that there are some people out there that are really trying to tell the truth, but they're outnumbered by the people that are looking for money, ratings, girlfriends, laughs. I don't know.
Well, that one guy from South Carolina that kept putting fake stuff on his YouTube channel, and eventually YouTube shut him down because he was found out to be an absolute fake, and he was portraying all this stuff as the truth.
Yeah,
the guy was underhanded dog.
If only they could do that with real news.
Yeah. Well, I think they're doing the same thing with real news, but the major academics in the United States don't want us to know anything about paranormal.
No,
anything.
Yeah.
They're hiding everything from us as best they can.
I think they're concerned that we'll realize that there are certain things we are able to do, which we've been kind of programmed to think we can't do. I mean, I don't know about you, but there's certain things I can manifest these days because of my stuff I can do. I mean, silly things like when I'm about to go into a shopping center, I'll visualize where I want to park and I'll drive straight into that park. So that's all about manifestation. And like, if I want to have an interview with a certain person, I'll manifest that interview. I've got some amazing interviews, and people say, "How did you get that person?" I went, "Well, just wanted it, manifested it, meditated on it." That's all you have to do a lot of this stuff. And I think the trick is not to be too greedy or materialistic with what you want to manifest. And it has to have there has to be some goodness in why you want to do it. And that's when I find the manifestations very quick. But if it's something purely for, like, I want to win the lotto next weekend, that stuff you can never manifest that because it's materialistic. So obviously whoever, ticks off and says, yeah, we'll have that one, doesn't really, isn't a very materialistic person, doesn't like greed. So do you have any logical explanation or reasoning for any of the following? And I'll give you a list of things that people have claimed they've experienced. So give me basically what I want here is I'm going to throw out the names of a few things, and you just tell me what your take on them is. Near-death experiences and seeing the light.
Well, I have had somewhat of a near-death experience, and it's when you open yourself up to the possibilities, it's impossible to say this doesn't exist anymore. Help me out here, Doug. At least with NDE, it gives me some proof that there is something, life after death.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, just got pizza delivered.
Hey, Australian pizza.
Oh no, you keep talking. I'll just have my drink.
Yeah, I was just looking at my notes here. There's just too many things in the ESP world, the psi world, to ignore. And all these are all tied into psi problems.
Well, premonitions, as far as I'm concerned, that may be the ability to slip time.
Yes, yeah, but it's also deja vu is a premonition. And it's not a time slip, it's seeing something before it happens.
So did you slip into the future and then slide back?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because I actually think with premonitions, for me, because I've experienced a few of them now, what I'm actually doing is I'm stepping into a parallel dimension, which is a little bit out of step on our time, and I'm experiencing it there, and then I come back to our dimension. That's how I see it, because usually when I get the premonition, things are different, like colors of dresses, where things are located. There's slight changes, which is, it's taken me a few years to kind of work that out. But I think premonitions are actually parallel dimensions, which are ahead of us in time. And I don't think we're all in sync in time with our dimensions. And I think there are tons of dimensions. So that's my take on premonitions.
I can't tell. How in the world can you see something and know exactly what's going to happen? I don't have that answer, but there it is in front of us, that people see, 9/11, they see car crashes and big emotional things before they happen. Or is that retrocognition? I get mixed up on that.
Well, and as far as telepathy is concerned,
ESP.
It's just, I mean, two people make a connection. I think Jane actually reads my mind. I know she does.
I just know you.
Well, it's crazy that I'm driving home from work, and all of a sudden, I get home and I'm thinking about something I want to eat. I've been thinking about it all day. She has it ready, sitting for me to eat.
That's weird.
Yeah.
She does it all the time, though.
Well, you never tell me what you want for dinner, so I have to guess.
Well, I tell you this way.
I do that. Yeah, no, I do the same thing with my daughters. My daughters and I are very in sync.
Mhm.
And I'll be thinking about something. Like today, I just saw a comedy cruise, which I'd like to go on with my kids and their new boyfriends. Yeah, well, not new, a couple of years now. And, but it's only a 4-day cruise out from Brizzy, basically in the ocean, and it comes back. But she looks like a lot of fun, and it's quite reasonable. So I've been thinking about that all today, and I am fully expecting tonight the subject of cruises to come up in conversation without me preempting it, because I know that that's how this stuff kind of works. So I'm doing a bit of manifesting at the moment on that. So and
you manifest more.
But the premonition stuff, like with my 9/11 one, let me give you the setup of that one.
Yeah.
6 months prior to 9/11, I was a disaster recovery analyst for a major bank in Australia. And I had to run a simulation of what would happen if a disaster occurred. And so I had to I had to take the bank down for the day and fall over to the data recovery facility, all the software systems. And I had to also do the BCP, which is to get all the people to the new locations or redirect people. So it was going to be a huge day. And it was done the day before 9/11 hit. This is the simulation I did. My simulation was, are you ready for this? An aeroplane would take out the entire 13th floor of the main bank building in Brisbane. And it was, so basically, this scenario I got from a dream I'd had the night prior. So I had this dream of a plane coming into the 13th floor and taking out that entire floor and causing the building to fall down. That was the scenario. We did that we then ran that simulation. We're talking over 1,500 people in Brisbane. The day before 9/11, I actually evacuated 1,500 people, sent them out to all the different locations. This is a major bank. I won't say who it is. The day after, I went home to sleep about 2 a.m. that morning. I went home to sleep. I got up. Don't usually do TV or anything in the morning. I got dressed, drove into work, because the next day we were all meeting in the boardroom to do the PMP, which is the post implementation review, the peer. Anyway, I walked into the boardroom. There's 2 TVs in the boardroom. They're both on with the towers going in. I walk in, my whole team, who I've been coordinating for the last 6 months, turn in sync and just stare at me like I'm the spookiest thing they've ever come across. Can you now explain that? Explain how I could pick that scenario and we could run that simulation 24 hours prior to it actually happening in real life. And it all came from a dream.
9/11 premonitions, but I think yours takes the cake.
But you know what would happen if you had done that in this country?
Oh, they would arrest us.
They would have arrested you, and we would have never seen you again.
Hmm?
Yeah. Yeah. They're looking for a scapegoat. But, I mean, there are millions of people who've had that same 9/11 experience, not quite like yours. I mean, because you actually...
I planned it.
Yeah.
I actually planned it.
Yeah, but it's like, what is that? Something of the third kind, where the guy's making Devil's Mountain with potatoes.
Close Encounters.
Yeah, I mean, you made a wow. That's really startling. Too cool.
Yeah, I got another couple of contracts with them, but after that, they were really, they started calling me Spooky. Spooky.
Yeah.
That's what they started nicknaming me Spooky after that. And then I went into corrections, and I worked for a correctional facility, and they called me Scully there because of I used to freak them out with certain things. I used to have, we had this very famous criminal in there called the Postcard Bandit, because he used to, every time he was jailed, he'd escape. He was a great escape artist, and he would then send the police or whoever the jurisdiction he was in, he'd send them a postcard saying thanks for the thanks for the stay. So that's why he was called the Postcard Bandit. And thanks for looking after me for 6 months or whatever. So anyway, I had this dream a few days before he attempted another escape. And it was like this helicopter coming into the jail and setting down, and that was his escape. And I told everybody about it, and I just said, "Oh, I had this dream. You know, the guy the famous guy that we've got at the moment." And I said, "Yeah, I just had this really weird dream that this copter came in and just took him away. Just actually came into the jail." And sure enough, 3 days later, that happened. So then I was known as Scully from that, because I also had like the short red hair. Yeah. So I used to wear a lot of suits. So, and in jails you have to have accreditation everywhere. So I used to have, it looked like I was wearing an FBI badge. So it's funny. So yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
So I don't have many, but they're usually big. Whatever I have, it's like probably have one every so many years. But it's like with the flood, the flood was a big one.
Yeah. Next time you have one, write us.
I had one about Obama being assassinated, but it didn't make sense to me at the time. This was when he was actually president, and I had this dream that he was in a hotel near a beach, very luxurious hotel, and I actually woke up lying in the beach, and I had a hotel key in my hand with the number 9 on it. And I remember looking up at this hotel. It was a fabulous hotel. All you could see was hotel and white beach and sands, and then an explosion. And then it was all to do with President Obama. So
yeah.
And the hotel was white, about 3 or 4 stories, huge, and looked like it was on an island, pristine island. So if you ever see something like that, I've already had that dream.
Yeah.
So,
well, he's not president anymore, but they still call him Mr. President, don't they?
Oh, they always, yeah. They always.
Those things.
Yeah.
So right. I
haven't
had anything on Trump, so that's good. I like him. So
yeah.
Hopefully he'll stick around. So what about? No, that's okay. I was going to say out-of-body experiences, but they're really more astral travel, aren't they? Which I think can be explained in a different way. So what do you think is the fascination behind living people wanting to interact with ghosts? I mean, I know you'll understand why you two do it. It's it's like finding out the truth, isn't it? It's one trying to get to the mystery. Mm-hmm. But why do you think other people?
Everybody.
No, I think a lot of people want the adrenaline rush. They want to be scared. It's like
going. They want a thrill.
It's like going to a haunted house at Halloween, the amusement park, the thrill, the spell. It's that kind of thing, and that's why a lot of people who come to investigate with us do it only one time, because nothing happens.
Yeah. But see, they don't get the joy of listening to the evidence later and it correlating with the history that I've done. Like that's better than anything.
Well, it's sometimes it catches us by surprise.
Yeah.
It's like we did, what was that sandwich shop on a roll?
Yeah.
This little tiny sandwich shop downtown Wilmington. Mm-hmm. And I just said, well, we were doing it to help out a film crew from UNCW, the college.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, we went along with it. We set up our equipment and stuff. I had no thought of even getting any kind of evidence. Oh boy, did we ever.
Yeah.
Have you gone back?
No, we want to do, there are a lot of places in downtown that we're trying to get. You know, we still have some ghost hunting groups that have dibs or however you call it. They say, oh, this is our place. And this is, you know, they don't own it, but they own it.
Yeah, that's annoying.
It's hard, you know, the bars, there are a lot of bars downtown, but the history of Wilmington is so fantastic. And then, you know, you could look this stuff up in the archives. Most people don't even know where these archives are. That, I mean, I've had my hands on 100-year-old documents or more. It's just hard to get in because the bars, they're open late, and then after they close, they start smashing all the beer bottles till 3 o'clock in the morning, and you hardly have any time.
Yeah.
I'd like to just get in there daytime when they're not open.
Yeah, when they're Sunday mornings.
Yeah. We're going to start to do a lot more daytime investigations because we've always said that you don't need the nighttime. You know, we don't do our stuff in the dark. So that's where we hope to go from here.
Yeah.
Daytime. Yeah. Well, ghosts are there 24/7.
Exactly.
Whether they want to talk to us or not, I don't know. But it's just better without any traffic going by.
Yeah. So do you have an investigation currently underway? You working on anything at the moment?
Well, the USS North Carolina is. Yeah. I think that's going to be ongoing for the rest of our careers.
Yeah, there are not many places that you can do serial investigations. Usually, we do home investigations. They want us there once, and that's it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like we can't go in there and say your house is haunted, or give them a report 2 hours after we got there.
And sometimes, you know, we go into places and it's obvious that they're haunted, but most hauntings are very subtle. Their voices here, voices there, their whispers. So it's hard to pull them out, and it might not happen on the day you happen to go there to investigate. Yeah. Jane says the ghosts are off on Wednesdays.
You know, not that we do any on Wednesday, but
it's that kind of thing. Yeah, they're off today, so we didn't get anything. But maybe it really is haunted, and we need to go back and do it again. Yeah.
There's also having to sit down and listen to EVP. I mean, that's probably one of the more onerous tasks. It's not as glamorous as actually going on site and setting up your equipment and doing stuff, but it's not the best job. I mean, it's not my favorite job.
I love it.
You do?
Yeah. Hear something that's not right, something that's out of place. He can pick it up, bam, just like that. Whereas I stink. You know, I don't even try anymore. I'll review some video.
And it's not even that I pick out what's being said. It's just that the voice doesn't belong. And sometimes I go back and then I listen to it 2 or 3 times. I go, oh, that's maybe Jane.
Yeah.
But the ones that pop are very obvious, not one of us.
Yeah, we have a theory about EVP that after you report them and like you do the initial review, put them away and just put them up in the shelf there. Then bring it back down after they've had time to steep. You know what I mean? Like a tea bag. You find clearer stuff, more in.
I think part of that theory is that you go on an investigation, you concentrate on what's going on and the answers and all this stuff. Then you jump to listening to the audio, and you may miss a lot.
Yeah.
And that's when coming back later, when you've kind of forgotten all about the investigation to a point.
You're not under the gun.
Yeah. And that's when they start popping out.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're hoping that the more we can do downtown, that will be more like the battleship for us, because it will be a serial investigation of Wilmington.
Yeah.
It's just getting into some of these places, this one house, it used to be a home, and then now it belongs to some architects. They're not going to let us in because they have files and files, lawyers, they have things that are private. So, we try, and occasionally we just fall into a basket of peaches and get some really good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never know. Keep asking politely.
Yes. If it's meant to be, it'll be, don't you think?
Yes.
Exactly.
Need to meditate on that.
So what's next for Port City Paranormal? Got any big plans for 2020?
Travel?
Doing some traveling.
Yeah, we're hoping.
Continue to investigate, do some more research.
More learning. Not more learning.
A lot of historical and just learning about what we're doing and who's doing it and how they're doing it better than us.
Yeah, we've been stuck here in North Carolina because full-time jobs.
Yeah, I do go and I look at pieces of equipment that we can use, and I've built some stuff.
Invented stuff.
These little self-contained cameras with audio. They're totally battery operated. They're small. You can put them anywhere you want. All you have to do is put them in a spot, turn 2 switches, and you're off and running.
I'm hoping we can continue with our meetings so we can teach the public, because they're free. They're open to everybody. They're at a nice little restaurant in a nice part of town. Like, just come and sit down if you're curious. We've made a lot of believers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's so important to spread the message.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize how much I didn't know until I really started taking classes and saying, oh, whoa, that's how that works. And, just I never even thought about ESP with ghosts. When, excuse me, it's so, I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah.
I have my nose on the computer looking at sound analysis and all other technical.
You're not alone, though. I mean, that's one of my biggest complaints about the paranormal field is most of the paranormal investigators I liaise with won't entertain having a psychic on team.
That's you. We were like that at first.
And it just blows my mind, because from my perspective, because I've done the research, I've got that knowledge. I know how much it adds to an investigation, and but you can't tell people. It's like with ufology, you can't tell people until they've actually dipped their toes in a little bit or had an experience, and then I'll share. But it's just like there's this big door in front of people, and until they actually crack it a little bit themselves, you can't foist something on them. You
have to have curiosity.
The thing is that Deb convinced me, Deb Bowen, our psychic, whereas she goes on the investigation, she goes through the whole night, says nothing. Even if she senses something, she says nothing and writes a report. And then we compare it to our evidence. And she's nailed it every time.
Yeah.
I think taking classes at the Ryan and Lloyd Auerbach changed my mind about using a psychic, because what we were getting before were people that wanted to be psychic or thought they were psychic. And they wanted to lead the investigation, and that's not what you're for.
No, it's a team. It's a team effort, and everyone adds value. Basically, you've just got to know what the value is they're adding and implement that. And because it's like with paranormal investigation, you've got to have a really good equipment guy who knows how to manipulate the equipment. You've got to have a sensitive to kind of give you a few pointers like, oh, I think something's happening over there. I kind of sense some energy here. And you've got to have your more logical, like your team lead, who knows, protocol, process, how to gather the evidence in a way that is evidence, and
It's consistent.
it's all part, the team. That's why you'll find most paranormal investigators are teams. They're not just one-offs. They're just not one people. Yeah. So, it sounds like you've got a nice team now. You've got Tony.
Oh, we're little. Probably our best, one of our favorite team members passed away.
Oh.
And it's hard to find a replacement of somebody that will, they'll look at the protocols. They'll not say, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm doing it my way. You do it our way. Yeah. We do it all the same way, the same thing every time. And no showboating, no running down the hall screaming, yelling. This isn't a game with us. This is research. I don't know what we'll find, but I'm hoping we'll find something astounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's the same all I can say is it's the same in the ufology field.
Mm-hmm.
You go out and do sky watches, and majority of people will just sit down and meditate, but there's always one person who suddenly spots something and breaks the meditation, which is what's actually bringing the craft down. And you always look at that person like, we won't invite them again, because you just know that. And it's all about them and not about the group. And like this is creating a group consciousness. Mm-hmm. That's why we're actually getting activity. But if there's one idiot standing up and pointing at the sky and oh, look at that, you've got to settle down, sit down.
Charlie's in the corner.
Yeah. Here, look at me.
Yeah. That's the psychics we were in. And it took us. It's funny. I've been friends with Deb longer than she's been with us. And I knew she was a professor of psychology, which is a wonderful background to have.
It is.
Family
nice to have that credential. Yeah.
Yeah. But then she opens up and starts telling me all these things about her. And I said, oh, my God, Deb, come here. Got something for you. Yeah. Well, we've worked with more than one psychic.
Yeah, we've worked with actually 3, and 2 of them were nitwits.
Oh, well, what about Donna?
Well, Donna never worked as a psychic with us.
No.
She worked purely as an investigator.
Yeah, but she doesn't. This girl, her psychic talent is she's really connected to her mother who's passed.
Mm-hmm.
And her mother, she reads cards. But it could be any cards. It could be the old maid deck for us. She uses them as a vehicle to get her to concentrate